Biliana na hao wadudu wanatafuta wale tunaita wadudu marafiki, ni vijana ambao wanajiita Plant Village. Tazama makala ambayo tumesoma nao kule maabara wakituonyesha namna ya kutayarisha na kutengeneza wadudu marafiki. Baada ya kwenda shambani tulishuhudia armyworms wakiharibu kabisa matawi ya mahindi yetu. Lakini kukabiliana na hili tutafanyaje? Kuna mbinu ya kuzalisha wale tunaita wadudu marafiki ambao watakula mayai ya armyworms na kukamilisha kabisa safari yao. Safari hii inakwendaje? Na kuomba sana usalie nasi hadi tufike tamati ili upate kusoma kutoka kwa wataalamu ambao wanafahamu safari hii ya kukamilisha maisha ya armyworms. Twende kazi ili upate kusoma kabisa kuhusiana na masuala haya. Hapa tunafanya kile tunaita IPM, Integrated Pest Management. Ni safari ambayo ungependa kukosa. Twende kazi. Yamune chifta.
Acha mege bwana Terer. So welcome to Plant Village. Today we will learn more of what you saw in the field. There you saw maize damaged, but today we will learn about the solution. Integrated Pest Management.
Nashukuru.
Welcome to the lab now, Terer. So first of all, as you can see, let's start with the gloves and then we'll get to learn more. So right here, whatever you can see here is the full armyworm. This is what you've seen in the field. So in mass producing parasitoids, we have to have the full armyworm. We've talked about full armyworm, and this is what you're seeing. So what we're just doing here is we are feeding this full armyworm to produce the parasitoids.
Hii ni mboga gani?
Hapa hivi tuko na Amaranthus. So full armyworm feeds on a broad species of crops. One of them is Amaranthus. And today we are feeding all this with Amaranthus. In the field, as we saw last week, we saw maize. But today you will see Amaranthus because full armyworm can feed on all those species. Yes.
Lakini mbona sana utakapoona wanakula mahindi zaidi kuliko hii umeita ni terere huko kwetu?
Yes. So according to literature again, full armyworm prefer maize species because it's sweet tasting. It doesn't mean it will not feed on other species, but it will prefer maize or grass family because it's sweet tasting, preferably maize. Yes. So hapa hivi ni ile stage number 1, the first stage. So in the first stage we have to mass produce this full armyworm, and in this case we have to rear them bit by bit. Right here you will see small full armyworm, right? We have them here, these small armyworms. After this, we will want to grow all this in a large scale so that we are able to produce more parasitoids to take them to the field. So we are starting from the initial stages. So we will go ahead and then you see more things about mass production of parasitoids.
Naomba sasa utusafirishe kutoka pale tulikotoka, tumefika hapo. Niendelezee kidogo ndio nifahamu sasa nini naendelea hasa.
So the most important part of this process is having to harvest the eggs that will be used for parasitoid production. So the life cycle is the key thing to mass production. So right here is a stage where we have the whole process going on. From where we started, you saw that we are producing the small ones of full armyworm. After that, we put them on diet because the most crucial thing is to be sure of to produce quality things and again to control the environment of production. So if that is a thing that we should consider, that means we will have to produce this in a setup which you're seeing. So that means we'll have full armyworm produced in artificial diet, which is quite cheap, and we are able to produce quality full armyworm. After that stage, we'll be able to produce pupae and have adults which will lay the eggs. So that is the process that goes on here, over and over again. So in this facility, each day we'll have eggs harvested, we'll have neonates, or we can say larvae, caterpillar, inoculated to artificial diets. We'll also have pupae being harvested, and we'll have moths, which again I told you in this lab we want to see eggs daily. Reason being, these eggs will help us to produce the parasitoid which we will take to the field.
Wakati unazungumza ukataja kwamba kuna vyakula, nifafanulie unipatie vyakula vipi ambavyo unawapatia viwavi jeshi?
Plant Village has produced and has derived a very cheap nutrient products that we are able to feed to this Folamium. In a setup where we are doing mass production, we should have an alternative apart from maize or the crops that I told you that are 270 plus, which will enable us to mass produce. So in this case, our product has all the nutrients that you may think of. We have vitamins, we have carbohydrates in the component, we have amino acids, we have antifungal. So it's a whole component. We can even say it's so nutritive than what other people eat.
Zoezi hili ambalo mnafanya hapa linakwendaje ndo tukusanye mayai ambayo mtasema sasa tayari kupelekwa ili tupate ile tunasema parasitoids? Kitu
ambacho unafaa kujua kwanza ni baada ya kutoka field tutaweza kupata kwa field unaweza pata vipepeo, kwa field unaweza pata caterpillar. Tuseme tumeleta vipepeo hapa, tutaweza kupata mayai kwa hizi vipepeo ambao tutaweka kwa ile diet ambayo nimekueleza. So after that, having this caterpillar from the diet, we will have pupae. The pupae will be put in the cages, or the cages that you've seen in this lab. These cages, we call them emergence and oviposition cages. The pupae, the brown thing, so this pupae will emerge in 9 days and we'll have moths in the cages. So the moths will be laid. In the cages you've seen a white pepper. In the field, these moths lay on green crops, preferably what they prefer as their host crop. But here in the lab, we have a substrate pepper. A substrate pepper is a pepper that will attract moths to lay on. When they lay on them, you've seen the eggs, how they look like. So these eggs will be laid in a sticky pepper. We are able to cut that pepper and stick them on cards before we expose them to parasitoid. Reason for sticking them is to have a good and sizable quantity to release in each field. So a quantity that we release in each field is 10,000 parasitoids. So in an acre, we have a capacity of 40,000 parasitoids, depending on infestation. Some farms, I know you've seen these farms, Mr. Terer, some farms have low infestation. That farm will not put the same parasitoid as a farm that has a high infestation. But in an average, we can say we will put 40,000 parasitoid per acre.
Umezungumzia sana kuhusiana na parasitoids. Unamaanisha nini na tunawazalisha vipi?
Parasitoid, we can say it's a parasite. Farmers know about ticks for their cows, and ticks destroy the cow. But in this case, we are talking a parasite. A parasite, in this case, parasitoid, is a small insect that eats or feeds on the eggs of Folamium. When the eggs of Folamium are destroyed, that means we don't have a damaging stage. This is the caterpillar. Farmers have seen a lot of caterpillars. And in this case, we release parasitoids to the field to feed on those eggs. When the eggs are fed on, we will not have caterpillar. And when we don't have caterpillar, that means we don't have the maize destroyed in the field. So the whole cycle, our intention is to have eggs. In the field, when we went to the field, we collected eggs and we collected parasitoids, right? But to mass produce, that means you'll first of all have to establish a good host for lamium. When we now have the eggs, we can still go back to the field and bring more parasitoids. And when you've seen the eggs in the card, these eggs with the parasitoids we have from the field, we can now introduce them. A good advantage of parasitoid is just one parasitoid can parasitize a whole egg mass. A whole egg mass. When you see leaves in the field, you can see an egg mass and egg mass. Farmers may not spot this, but parasitoid have a very good characteristic. Itself, it can spot the egg because it has a chemical that attracts it to that. So what we are talking about is we bring parasitoid from the field and we introduce them after establishing a good host, so that we are able to balance the parasitoid we bring from the field and the eggs that we have in the lab to mass produce.
Asante sana kwa kufuatilia kipindi cha Kenya's Gold. Ni wapi wewe uliwahi fikiria kwamba tunaweza buni wadudu ambao ni